Hello everyone, Juxtaposition here. Today's video will be entitled Applied Anthropology. And of course I'm referring to the study of human societies. Now, like with everything else in our crazy, wacky language, we have linguistics and then we have applied linguistics. We have accounting theory and we have accounting practice. We have what people believe is anthropology, and then we have applied anthropology. We have pacification and control concepts, and then we have specific pacification and control application programs. For example, MK Ultra, which again is an umbrella for Operation Sea Spray, Operation Midnight Climax, using prostitutes. You know, Amphetamines Research Project, better known as ARP. Remember, the clandestine services and bankers always use acronyms, like CORDS in Vietnam, which was a pacification and control application, as was Operation Phoenix, Gladio in NATO countries throughout Europe, and in Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles, and in Silver Lake, Los Angeles, where Roy and Walt Disney grew up, starting the Disney Brothers Studios and building a mansion that Lino LaBianca moved into at 4053 Woking Way, underneath the Hollywood sign in Griffith Park, 6,188 square feet. Home. Lino LaBianca moved in there. They had sold the home. He was buying a horse farm in San Diego County in Vista, to be specific, which is not too far from the Camp Pendleton Marine Base, if you didn't know. Anyway, that was why he was staying temporarily at his mother Corina's home, where he was, Operation Gladio, murdered by the sword by the M7 bayonet. And his wife was taken out as well. So within pacification control, we have COVID, we have terrorism events, we have hoax events, we have the USS Maine sinking in the port of Havana, as if you're stupid enough to believe that the United States Army and Marines can't guard a battleship at anchor in a port facility that they control. Give me a break. As if Pearl Harbor could possibly be a surprise sneak attack when you have an oil embargo imposed for Japan, and you've canvassed and surveilled every millimeter of the Pacific Ocean, and you allow 6 aircraft carriers plus the support crew and fleet to steam 3,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean, and you didn't notice? Hey, but my parents and my grandparents were stupid enough to believe the Pearl Harbor was a sneak attack. You got to be pretty stupid to believe that. But anyway, most Americans are stupid, and most Americans do believe in stupid things. Stupid is as stupid does, as we learn from studying anthropology. My number one favorite class, and the one that I always received A's in, were social studies, which I studied in parochial school. Social studies were, in fact, anthropology. I really got into it. Maybe that's why I have my own podcast series. So let's go back and look at the definition of the word anthropology, shall we? Let's do that. So I'm going to look at anthropology before I get into applied anthropology. And we're just going to look at anthropology, and we're going to look for some what I would call synonyms of anthropology. And there are many, many synonyms for anthropology. But the technical definition of anthropology is the scientific study of humanity. It concerns human behavior, human biology, human cultures, societies, and linguistics, both in the present and in the past, including past human species. Interesting. Social anthropology is the study of patterns and behavior, where cultural anthropology deals in the norms and values of a particular society. There are also other terms known as sociocultural anthropology, and today is often used interchangeably with linguistic anthropology studies, or how language influences social life. Perhaps I should invite Noam Chomsky on as a guest, and he can talk to me about liar, liar, pants on fire. That's what, the only thing that Noam Chomsky can talk about is mendacities that appear in his books and lies that come out of his pie hole. All right, that's about all he can talk about, because linguistic anthropology studies is poppycock. There's no such thing. Biological and physical anthropology are involved with the biological development of humans, which would include nanotechnology or microbiology or aluminum, titanium, lithium oxide particles inserted into your body, either from chemtrails or from the water system, which is being polluted on a daily basis, or from mandatory vaccinations or voluntary vaccinations. They too include aluminum nanoparticles are in the flu vaccine, if you didn't know. And I have a feeling it's in your toothpaste too. It's in everything. All right. There are spin-offs from anthropology, of course. There's paleontology, which is the study of what came before, right? You know, before even the indigenous people of the Native America, they've been done away with, and their culture has been eliminated, deleted, erased from our culture. But before the indigenous Indians who lived here in North America, we have paleontology, which goes to the study of fossils to find out what the dinosaurs were doing, or other organisms that we need to characterize and classify into historical context. So we have paleontology, we have the study of archaeology, where you look at previous buildings built by ancient civilizations. We have the study of indigenous people, and we have modern anthropology or linguistic anthropology. So you see, and socio-cultural anthropology. So you can go in a lot of different directions here, but we're basically speaking about humanity, society, culture, social norms in the present tense. Now, here are some synonyms for the word anthropology. Okay, folklore. Folklore. Some of that might be true, some of that might be fake, right? Sociology, which is anthropology. Demography, population density. Socioanthropology, population studies, population vital statistics, population growth. Cultural anthropology, census-taking, population size. Social anthropology, population analysis. You do know that anthropology is an abstract noun. Here are some other nouns: biology, bioscience, psychology, genetics, zoology, ecology, life lore, morphology, anatomy, biological science, natural science, life sciences, animal biology, science of life, study of living things, medicine, botany, environmental science, embryology. All right, I can go on and on, believe me. In the world of linguistics, there are many vocabulary words that you can choose to psych people out. In other words, lie to them. And Noam Chomsky would be a Pulitzer Prize winning example of that. All right. You should know, most disturbing of all, I grew up near Berkeley, Oakland border, in Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area, in very close proximity to the University of California, Berkeley, which was the first campus to open of the 9 campuses in the University of California system, which is a clandestine military indoctrination center if you didn't know. And College Avenue was a boulevard that I used thousands of times in my life, in my younger life. And on College Avenue, you won't be surprised to know that we had this character by the name of William Randolph Hearst, who came from a wealthy family and became a newspaper magnate, which is sort of like the media darling of today, right? Because newspapers were the primary source of fake information, disinformation, propaganda. Applied linguistics came through probably a William Randolph Hearst newspaper. Now, William Randolph Hearst he was born and raised in San Francisco, and, where the CIA opened up the Haight-Ashbury Project. He lived in close proximity to there. He lived in Pacific Heights and later moved down to all over the place. I mean, he lived in Beverly Hills, off Coldwater Canyon, near Franklin Canyon. He lived there right off Sunset Boulevard, near Coldwater Canyon. William Randolph Hearst's mother was Phoebe Hearst. She's an important person. She allegedly was involved with the occult, but more importantly, she was very involved with anthropology. And at 2594 College Avenue, Berkeley, California, a place that I've visited and gone by many times in my life, we have the Phoebe A. Hearst Museum of Anthropology. Not exactly sure when it was built. It's been there my entire life. And it's located 2594 College Avenue, Berkeley. You won't be surprised to know that this is the great-grandmother of Patricia Hearst. You know Patty Hearst of the SLA? Tanya. Remember Patty Hearst became Tanya for the fake CIA SLA terrorist group, Symbionese Liberation Army? Well, before Tanya was an SLA member and a bank robber of the Hibernian Savings and Loan, before that, she was a student at University of California, Berkeley. Yeah, and she resided in apartment number 4 at 2603 Benvenue Avenue in Berkeley. Do you have any idea how far it is from Patty Hearst's apartment where she was kidnapped, allegedly by the University of Indiana, Bill and Emily Harris, along with their cohort from Cincinnati, Ohio, Donald DeFries, who I think is a fake person. I don't think there really was a Donald DeFries. But anyway, all the important people come out of Indianapolis, Indiana, right? Jim Jones, Gus Grisham, Neil Armstrong. They came out of University of Indiana. Right, including the kidnappers of Patty Hearst. They came out of University of Indiana and the Purdue campus. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you is that the Phoebe A. Hearst Museum of Anthropology is 1/10 of a mile away from where her great-granddaughter, Patty Hearst, was kidnapped at 2603 Benvenue Avenue. 2603 Benvenue Avenue, apartment number 4. And I'll always remember it was apartment number 4 because Rosemary LaBianca's daughter, Susan LaBarge, you'd probably never be able to figure that out since she has a different name, the name of her baby daddy, but she goes by her stepfather's name, Struthers, but she's really the LaBianca stepdaughter. She lived in the Melrose Place apartments over there in Silver Lake district of Hollywood, in what later was celebrated in the television show Melrose Place. She lived in that building in apartment number 4. Just like Patty Hearst did at 2603 Benvenue Avenue from Berkeley. You could throw a baseball from Patty Hearst's front driveway to her great-grandmother's Anthropology Museum located at 2594 College Avenue. Technically, it's 1/10 of a mile. As a practical matter, as the crow flies, it's less than that. It's 1/10 of a mile is approximately 150 yards. I would say it's closer to 60 to 70 yards as the crow flies. In other words, you could throw a baseball. You could throw a baseball and hit Phoebe A. Hearst's museum. Do you see a theater here? William Shakespeare told us all the world is a stage and the people are just merely actors upon that stage. What William Shakespeare neglected to mention, however, is that many of the stagehands and the directors and social engineer anthropologists are paid, and they are also on the stage. It's just that they're part of the cast who is paid in the Screen Actors Guild cult. And then the rest of the Americans are clueless buffoons who just wander around thinking everything that's on television and newspapers is real. Nothing is. Not a damn thing. The truthful things that happen in life do not appear on television, are not discussed on radio. They're only discussed on my channel. They're not even discussed in 99% of social media. They stay the hell away from the truth. You're not going to hear any negative stuff about Ron DeSantis or Robert Francis Kennedy Jr. married to Cheryl Hines. You're not going to hear negative stuff on the internet unless you come to my channel. Come to my channel, and I like to expose these people for their affiliations with the banks, anthropologists, clandestine service, compromised, controlled infrastructure. So don't be hitching your wagon to another Trojan horse. What I'm trying to tell you is Abigail Folger, for a short time, worked as the publicity director at the University of California Museum of Art History. It's located nearby to the Phoebe Hearst Anthropology. It's on the other northern, it's a little bit further north of the UC Berkeley campus. It's located at 2155 Center Street. That's where Abigail Folger worked for, I don't know, 3 to 6 months before she was dispatched to the Robert Kennedy presidential campaign in Manhattan and given a job at the Gotham Bookmart in Manhattan. I never forget about my New York audience. And I also never forget about my London, England audience or my United Kingdom audience. I never forget about you people because you're involved in this story. London, Manhattan, New York, the Bronx, Queens, they're all involved with San Francisco and Los Angeles, Hollywood, West Hollywood, Van Nuys, San Fernando Valley, Sunset Boulevard, the Roxy Theater, and the Academy Awards, which have now been relocated to the Dolby Theater across the street from where Janis Joplin was murdered on October 4th, 1970, at the Landmark Hotel, which is right across the street from the Will Smith, Chris Rock fake for television bitch slap. What I'm concerned about is that since Abigail Folger was the publicity director for the UC Berkeley Art History Museum, they've moved in across the street, the Valley Life Sciences building, where they do all kinds of nefarious things over there. Whenever I hear the words life science, I immediately think microbiology, and then I immediately think nanotechnology, and I think of Chiron and CETUS and PCR tests and Genentech. In other words, monkeying with your DNA, finding ways to manipulate human DNA, which is a part of anthropology. In other words, nanoscience and life science and biology and microbiology are all part of applied anthropology. And it's not good. Human beings are not supposed to be engineering human beings and turning them into Frankenstein creatures, which is what the University of California is doing, using bank grants run through the government that we used to think of as the United States. But since I'm here to tell you on my channel, there is no United States, there are no 50 states, there's no sovereignty, there's no solvency. The United States of America is insolvent, therefore, by definition, cannot exist as a living creature. It only exists if it's propped up by bankers. So we have bank anthropologists and bank fiat fake credit funding to run the Wizard of Oz system with the curtain pulled closed. But on my channel, we rip the curtain open like Toto, Dorothy Gale's dog, Dorothy, Judy Garland, murdered in London. She is the one who audited the central bank. It was Judy Garland who did the audit at age 16. All right? That's my point, people. That's what I'm talking about when I say anthropology. There are literally tens of thousands of professional social engineers, which are a part of the anthropology matrix, which Aaron Valente told us, it's all a game, it's a thought experiment, we're in the matrix. That's another colloquial term for applied anthropology. And bankers are a part of it because they have to fund the show, because it's a show. It's a complete show. It's a mendacity. The books are fake. The history is fake. The news is fake. The Hollywood actors are fake. The Hollywood marriages are fake. The Hollywood love affairs are fake. Did anyone really believe the Ellen DeGeneres and Anne Heche lesbian love affair that lasted about 2.5 to 3 years? Did anyone believe in the breakup bender weekend in Fresno County above the Harris Ranch where we turn cows into hamburger? And Anne Heche was described by Disney ABC News as having a breakup bender weekend, which only lasted about 5 hours, and that she was on a bender, meaning that she was drinking alcohol, and that she had ecstasy, they injected ecstasy, and that she owned a spaceship, and she wanted to take the sheriff's deputies up to space and meet God. Did anyone really believe that story? Does anyone then, 22 years later, believe the Anne Heche fiery car crash that never happened in real life? We're all actors upon a stage, and that's the show. The Anne Heche show. The Ellen DeGeneres show. It's all fake. Ellen DeGeneres is fake. Look, I met her when she was real, before she had a Screen Actors Guild card. I met her, I think it was 1978, in San Leandro, California. How you doing, Ellen? I actually thought you were setting up for Dr. Demento. I didn't know you were the warm-up act. You were much funnier than Dr. Demento. I walked out on Dr. Demento. I didn't walk out on Ellen DeGeneres, who did about 30 minutes on stage. I didn't know that they were going to rope her into a cult called Hollywood CIA and turn her into a social actress where she, does anchored bias and sends out, message signaling for our society, which I ignore totally. I don't take advice from Ellen DeGeneres. I don't take advice from Noam Chomsky. And I certainly don't take advice from Oliver Silverstein Stone, who has produced some of the greatest poppycock films that I've personally enjoyed. JFK, a poppycock film. Platoon, a poppycock fake film about Vietnam War. I'm not going to listen to a Yale student tell me about the Vietnam War. I'd much rather talk to someone who actually was there fighting, not teaching children to speak English who are the illegitimate children of CI operatives who live in and around the state embassy, the Secretary of State embassy, where William Colby had an office in Saigon, renamed Hanoi City, or what's it called now? Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon, a CIA headquarters. I don't take advice from Oliver Silverstein Stone. The Doors, Wall Street. Because in all the films that Oliver Silverstein Stone produced, he never tells you the truth. He doesn't tell you that it's bank approved and funded. He doesn't tell you it's bank anthropology. He doesn't tell you it's the port facility, triple underpass, railroad tracks is where the kill shot came from. He's all focused on the picket fence and the grassy knoll, where the kill shot didn't come from. Don't you see? He's just a substitute for the school book depository. Just another poppycock diversion. None of these, Hollywood's never going to produce a film that they show the kill shot coming from the railroad tracks where there are no spectators, no pedestrians, there's no walkway. It's a railroad triple underpass right over Elm Street. It crosses Elm Street, Main Street, and Commerce Streets. It's called the triple underpass. It's part of our military port facilities that operates under maritime law. That's the only society that we operate. We operate under anthropology programs under maritime law. Communism, socialism, democracy, fake democracy, dictatorships, anarchy, those are all anthropology programs run under military martial law. There is only one bank. There is only one clandestine community services. There's one CIA, one British intelligence for the whole world. There's one bank for the whole world. There's one Gestapo for the whole world. There's one military for the whole world. Okay? They operate under maritime law. And everybody on this boat, this world, this sphere, not flat earth, this sphere, they all function under maritime law. And then depending on how you were brainwashed and indoctrinated, you live under democracy, what I would call fake democracy. You live under fake communism, fake Chinese communism, fake Russian socialism, fake monarchies, right? Do you think that the king makes all the decisions? You think King Charles is in charge of London? Heck no. Prince Charles is less in control of London than Roberto Calvi was, and Roberto Calvi got hung by an orange rope with a love knot under the Blackfriars Bridge back on June 17th, 1982. And that's walking distance where Judy Garland of The Wizard of Oz was murdered. All right, thanks for listening. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Applied Anthropology.